Hold on, just had to check and see if my microphone was working. Check. Okay, it's working. Okay, so welcome to my all-new Beatles History podcast. And today, in this podcast, we're just talking about the history of the Beatles and stuff. So, in 1956, John Lennon started the band The Quarrymen, which was predating the Beatles. And there were multiple members, including himself. I forget the actual other members' names. I think Pete Best was there, but I don't actually know the actual members' names. Stuart Sutcliffe joined in, I think, the 60s, maybe in like 57. And then he met Paul McCartney. He met Paul McCartney in 1957, and Paul McCartney right here. And then Paul McCartney decided to invite his friend George Harrison, and then George Harrison played guitar for John Lennon in 1958, and then George Harrison joined the band in 1958. And then before Ringo Starr, they had a drummer named Pete Best. Before the Beatles, Ringo was in a band called Rory Storm and the Hurricanes. And so Pete Best got fired in 1960, and they hired Ringo Starr as their drummer. And they released their first single in 1962, which was Love Me Do. And the B-side to that was P.S. I Love You, one of my all-time favorite Beatles songs. And so this is going to be just episode 1, and we're going to talk about Please Please Me. I had to do like a little history of the actual band. So Please Please Me was their first album released in the UK. It had 14 tracks. The opening track was Please Please Me, and not Please Please Me. The opening track was I Saw Her Standing There, and the closing track was Twist and Shout. They recorded the majority of this album in one day. The only songs they had not recorded in one day were Love Me Do and P.S. I Love You, I think. They had recorded like 10 or 12 tracks in one day. It was one long, almost 12-hour session. And the last song they recorded for the day is Twist and Shout. And that song was done in one take. Mainly because John Lennon's vocal cords were absolutely fried after he sang the song. But then again, that is only one take. That song you hear now, that was recorded just in one take. All the instruments, everything. Also, I have a guitar pick for no random reason. No reason. Okay, so I Saw Her Standing There was the first track. They released it in 1963 on March 22nd in the UK, and then they later re-released it, I'm pretty sure, in the 80s everywhere. Or like after the band had broken up in everywhere. And the US counterpart for this was pretty much introducing the Beatles, which was made by VJ Records. Their regular record label was EMI, or Parlophone. But that album was created by VJ. And so when they created that album, they made two versions. They made a version 1, which had Love Me Do and P.S. I Love You. And then they made a version 2, which had Please Please Me, and I think Ask Me Why. And that's pretty much it. Alright, I'll see you around. I know it wasn't that long, but still.